who will be agitating, I think, before seem very long, on the issues which are precious to them, including the question of Europe. Remember, David Cameron has promised to have a referendum on British membership before the end of 2017. But it will go down, I think, with more than a chapter in contemporary British political history, the 2015 general election. The march of the Scottish nationalists, we have never seen anything to compare with that. We've seen the Liberal Democrat Party, the centrist party of British politics, cornered and dismembered. If this whole election was a video game, you'd have to censor it. It is that brutal. And the sight of so many big figures just biting the dust one after the other, well, that reminds me of the closing sequence of The Godfather, with leaving Don David Cameroni sitting in a certain amount of serenity while his enemies drop all around him.
John Pienaar, can I leap in? It's Tim Franks here. Very nice to speak to you, John. Can I just ask you, who do you think's going to resign first? Nick Clegg, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, or Ed Miliband, the leader of the Labour Party?
In that particular race, that rather sad race, I think Nick Clegg is going to resign first. He is on his way back to Westminster. My expectation is we'll be hearing Nick Clegg calling time on his political career pretty quickly. Ed Miliband, I've no doubt he's going to go too. He may take a little more time about that to let the dust settle around him, to allow time for his party to come to terms with what has befallen them, which must be, I think, in every possible way, a trauma for them to absorb before he plunges the party into the official stage of a battle for the succession. They have to come to terms with what's happened around them, and the earth has shaken and broken under their feet.
With that dramatic imagery, John, I'm going to have to let you go back to our neighbouring tent where you belong at 5 Live. Thank you very much. They're clamouring for you back. John Pienaar, Chief Political Correspondent at BBC Radio 5 Live. And we can hear the helicopters overhead, the ones probably tracking David Cameron's car. On that note, back to you in the studio for now.
Thank you very much, Karen. And when John Pienaar says that it's been a remarkable night, you know it has been a remarkable night. And one place where it has been truly astonishing has been up in Scotland, where Val Sanderson is. Although I suppose, Val, one point is that in a sense the polls got it right, that the Scottish nationalists were going to sweep the board, and so they did.
They certainly did. I have to say, Tim, I think what's happened here is more like Gladiator than Godfather, especially with the roar of the Scottish lion, don't you think? As Alex Salmon said.
I'm going to allow the movie similes to sort of lapse at that point, but you carry on.
You mentioned the poll. The exit poll wasn't quite right, nearly there, but let me tell you the state of play now. 58 seats here in Scotland have declared. 55 have gone to the Scottish National Party, 1 to the Liberal Democrats, 1 to the Conservatives, 1 to Labour, and 1 seat, the seat of Berwickshire, Roxburgh and Selkirk. A recount is going on as I speak. Well, here I am in Glasgow, in the Lowlands. Tim Reid is the BBC Scotland political correspondent based in London. So what does it look like from there?
Morning, Val. Astonishing and extraordinary. I think 2 words to describe what the SNP have managed to do. As you say, the polls, the opinion polls beforehand had suggested that they would do well. The party itself, I think, was rather cagey about accepting that they could gain upwards of 52 seats. In the end, they've gained 55. And in terms of Scotland represented in the Commons, the fact that there is only going to be 1 Labour MP, 1 Conservative, possibly 2, if they win that final seat that's got to be counted, and 1 Lib Dem, changes the political landscape hugely. And it means that when we come to events like Scottish Questions, where ministers question the Secretary of State for Scotland, and we don't yet know, of course, who that will be, but I suspect it might be David Mundell, the only Conservative that has been returned, and he's been a junior minister up to now. There will simply be 55 SNP MPs questioning that minister, along with a handful of others. So that will change things phenomenally. And of course, the SNP stood on a campaign banner of being anti-austerity, and they will be facing a Conservative Party which is obviously promising to carry on the cuts that need be. So there will be that dynamic in the Commons. And also, we've heard, as Neil Magumi said a few moments ago, that David Cameron has promised that devolution to Wales and to Scotland will be carried on. But of course, the SNP are looking for much more devolution than is on offer at the moment, and it was an offer that was made by the pro-union parties, who of course they have now defeated in Scotland. All those things to look forward to over the coming months.
There's some activity going on at Berwick where that recount is going on. We'll bring you the news of that when we have it. There's lots of extraordinary moments during the night. Lots of the big beasts of the political jungle fell. But we also saw some of the new stars, not just somebody like Nicola Sturgeon, who's really put her stamp on this election through the UK as well as in Scotland, but also people like the extraordinary 20-year-old Mari Black, a student who managed to win the seat of Douglas Alexander, Labour's election chief.
Yeah, a phenomenal moment there. Douglas Alexander, of course, has been Labour's campaign strategist for many elections now, and very, very difficult night for him. He was magnanimous in his defeat there, praising her for the campaign that she has run, and not so some of those other Labour members who were defeated tonight. One of them told us that